Hello there, and thank you so much for joining us today right here on Transforming Families. I am excited to have you on board. My name is Faith Kaulu, and today we are touching on a very critical matter per se. There's a very famous quote that we like using, and it says that if you choose the job you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. But then the question arises, what if this job is costing you your family? Which one do you pick, the job or your family? And basically that is what we are discussing today, career choices and how they affect our family and how we relate with each other generally. And I'm really excited because today I am joined by Sam and Andrea, who will give their contribution, which I believe will help us in one way or another to tackle the very difficult situation in when such cases arises in our family. So without further ado, allow me to let you guys introduce yourselves. We'll start with you, Sam. Tell us briefly about yourself.
Hello, viewer. My name is Samuel Wawelu Njoroge. I'm a married man with a family. I'm a counselor by profession. I also specialize in career coaching. And in that regard, I interact with many groups, corporate schools, young people everywhere. I'm also an author on a book that guides through career choices, and the title of the book is A Doctor or a Cobra. I'm happy to be here today. Thank you.
All right. Maybe before we go to you, Andrea, tell us briefly about your book.
In that book, I have handled various topics that enable someone to be aware of themselves, especially when you're pursuing on how to venture on what the right career you're supposed to pursue. One, I have looked into personality, because there are various, if you're able to know your personality very well, it is so easy for you to know the matching career in that regard. Yeah. Also, in that book I have stipulated very well the various types of career choices we have within the Kenyan education system, and I have written them in the order of alphabetical order, whereby I have stipulated very well, defining which career it is, I've given that bit of information, and the minimum requirement as far as education is concerned, and more so related careers with that one. This one helps a lot when you're going for a career choice, and you happen to miss because maybe you were not able to hit the mark for that, yes. And you're within that range of the area of your interest and your passion. So I have given part of the related careers, because even if you go off to another one, you are just within the home of what you're interested in doing. Yeah. And also I have also highlighted and the possible institutions where you can go and pursue the book.
All right, thank you. I think when we come to the end, you'll tell us how we can get the book. So a reason for you to stay tuned. All right, yes, tell us about yourself.
Oh, my name's Andrea Kamunde. There's another one I don't say a lot, which is called Mukwanjero. And I'm a counseling psychologist. Previously, I was a teacher of normal and the so-called challenged, this special education. I'm also a mediator. I've done short courses on sensitive issues, not sensitive but contemporary issues such as suicide, committing suicide, and what now? Many others. Yeah. Drugs. I'm a drug addiction counselor. I do consultation work. Right now we are collaborating. I'm coordinating, collaborating with the Kenya Institute of Business and Counseling Studies. Yeah, and I'm a member of Kenya Counselors Association. Yeah. And I do work in the three institutions of God. I'm in the church, I'm in the family, I'm also in the community. Yeah. Yes.
All right, thank you all for being here today and even being willing to, have an input in what we are discussing about today. I'd like us to begin with even before you get to choose a partner and decide that this is the one I'd like to settle with, a very basic question: does their career really matter? Yeah, so I think we'll start with you, Sam. Then we'll come to you, of course, to tell us about the psychology behind it. Yeah.
In response to what you are asking, remember, I'll put it this way. If you look at the young people when they are upgrading their education, once they are out of high school, they now enter into their dream of career choices.
Yeah.
And highly it is influenced by what they see from outside. And in that regard, whether one chooses college or whatever institution, university, they are after career choices. At that particular point, the factor marriage is not in them and with them. It is not. Yeah. It is all about, I want to pursue my dream career because I want to become this, because I saw it, I've heard about it, I have experienced it, yeah, maybe within the family setup and the people they are living around with. Now, when marriage comes in, that now an alien thing altogether, something different altogether. So it comes when one has already taken or attained a career with them. So meaning, when they were choosing the career, they never factored marriage. So marriage comes now after, as something now, I am settled here now I want to move to the next level, the next grade of life, which is marriage. Yeah. So in that relation, I would say there lies a whole gap, because of people don't get to know much information about marriage and what it entails in marriage that early, that when they are choosing their careers, they will opt to consider, if I choose this career, how will it affect, how will it contribute toward my marriage, life and family? Yes.
Very key, and I like how you say that even before all that, we do not think of marriage. We think, I want to become a doctor, I want to become a teacher, but we don't think, how will this affect my family in future? At that moment, it's about me, myself, and I. But then when we want to advance, then we think, maybe I should have become a police officer. Yeah. So, okay, I think I'll ask that later because I'm really excited by that important point you have brought out. But Andrea, let's hear from you. When now I want to advance, just as Sam has put it, and I'm thinking I really need to settle down, does the career choice of the person that I want to settle down with matter?
I would say, as he has said some of these points, that there's no education on family life, and there's no career for families. Yeah. There's nothing like, we do not have family career, and even marital career. We do more on other careers. I'll be a doctor. And during if there was education from the researchers that we also need a family career, these things would be very easily done, because people will now be negotiating and communicating. Because if I want a teacher and I like this girl, yeah, or I like this young man, yeah, it is a contradicting issue, because if people had prior education, when they are going to choose partners, then it will be very easy for them. What we are lacking is there is no prior education on marital and family life education. Yeah. Someone said, we take children to school for 15 or more years for a career, such like engineers, such like doctors, but nobody in the family where now these careers should be brought up. There is no family life education. I would really emphasize on the importance on what a family is and what a family should do. Yeah. And what we are seeing now is because we are diverse families and everybody is doing their trial and error, guinea pigs in the laboratory. We heard about complaints about this coronavirus.
Yeah, the vaccine.
And now we are now the guinea pigs. Animals have not been tested. It is very, very crucial to understand what is a family, and the family should be on the front line to guide the children. We have developmental stages, children in primary. This should be in the curriculum. We have, when the children are in the secondary, what should they learn? When they reach the young adults, what should they learn? We usually, we call them post-adolescents up to age 25. So that by the time one is age 25, they are surely knowing what exactly they want.
So speaking, if this was introduced, let's say today, and kids in high school or even primary are taught about career choices and how that would affect them, what difference would it make?
A very great difference. If you have heard and seen, there are many students who have gone up to university level. The parents choose careers for them to become doctors. There is one student who told the parent, "Here's your certificate. Let me go for mine." Yeah? If children are given the guidelines and they are taken through the education of careers and personality traits, they know their personality, because the careers also go with personality. They will be able to choose their careers. Of course, not ignoring issues of the things like values. Yeah. Because if you are choosing a career, who are you as a person? What are your values?
What are you passionate about?
What are you passionate about? When you are choosing a career, where is it taking me? And if this is the career I'm choosing, is it going with my values? Yeah.
Right.
For example.
Yeah. Nice. Let's go back to the points that you mentioned, which I really agree with, and I like that it's very eye-opening to the society at large. Let's talk at what would be then the best period to tell kids, the career choice you make would affect you long term, even in your family.
You see the family setup, and when I get a chance of talking to parents, there's something that I always remind them, that the first learning institution of a child is the family.
True.
Meaning, the first teacher of a child is these are the parents, the father and the mother, or the guardian, the people who are responsible for the growing up of the child.
Yeah.
Meaning, the family as a learning institution should have a clear system that are meant to disseminate the information. Because it's from the family point of view that parents should have an upper hand and carry the vision of knowing at one point, these kids will one day become adults and they'll be like us. So what information should we pass it to them, and at what stage? So there should be a lot of those kind of talk. But you see now, the system of the family we're having today is like that part of teaching and learning is closed. You are out there, you have your teachers in school, you have media, you have whatever, you have books, you have libraries, you can go and learn from there. But the truth of the matter is, the secular world outside there will never bring about this kind of, I will call it specified information that one would want to have. So, back to your question you were asking. For me, my emphasis is right from the family point of view, because the parents should be kind of upgrading information that they are giving to their children depending on their stages. So they should know very well that when they get in the level of teenage and toward the late teenage stages, they should open up now, open dialogue, talking to them about, because now I see you are becoming grown up and soon you'll venture into now wanting to have your families, your husbands, your wives and everything, and this is what you expect, this is what should happen, and this is what you should do. So that should be the right, I would say.
All right. All right, thank you. Something has come up even as we are still talking about a young person choosing a partner to settle with. So let's say, Andrea, a guy comes in your office as a counselor and says, you know, I like this girl and I want to settle her. We are compatible, our values are in line, but you know, she's in a career path that I feel won't give her time to become a mama at home. And I wouldn't want her to leave her career. So it's an issue. What would you tell this young person?
I would tell that person they need to sit down and discuss, look for alternatives, because you know one career is not a must that you get stuck there.
Yeah.
You can agree on other different areas of bringing up an income. In fact, when we look at the Bible, I have to quote the Bible now, and we are talking about the families. When we look at the roles, the woman is emphasized as a homemaker. So the woman initially was supposed to be a homemaker. So even for her now to go out and work becomes dangerous. But things have cropped up that now financially people divorce, then you wonder if I am not working and we divorce, how will I live? Yeah? Because people are, there's a lot of confusion in the society now. So it's a matter of agreeing, and actually during the dating time is when now to agree on all these with these careers. Because now, if someone is a air hostess, can you imagine that one now, the being in the air almost all the time?
Yeah.
So for me, it's a matter of sitting down and discussing. If we are in this career, we have, it's a matter of agreeing. The career should not be the major issue. It's how do we go about it? In case you have traveled, what should I be doing? When you come back, it's a matter of agreement. To me, a career is not the issue. But it is also an issue when it comes also to issues. I will repeat and repeat to the values. I dealt with a man called me and told me about his wife. They got married in the church. They are born again. The lady now goes into acting, modeling and all that.
Okay, all right.
Now the man got concerned because now, you know, when you are acting as a married woman, and then you have another man you are acting with, who is a husband, and then you do those things which your wives and husbands. I'm not talking about deeper, but even in the air, this hugging and what have you. Sometimes even the dressing. So the man got concerned. The time the lady sometimes would go at night, the photos that they are taken. Then when you go to social media, you find the other things. It affected him a lot. So if they had discussed that before and they had understood what kind of a career that is, it would have been better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the career is not the issue.
No.
Talk and see
The communication.
The communication.
Yes, and to understand what is involved in those careers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking about the career not being the issue, I can tell you for a fact that today a lot of young people are struggling to be employed. Just to find employment, no matter the income, you know, as long as you say, I am working at a certain place, you feel confident enough to approach a lady. And this is an issue that affects a lot of guys that I've spoken to, because also ladies, I'm like, you don't have work, then nothing can happen between us, because how are you expected to provide if we are to start a family or go forth with this relationship? And I'd like us to speak on that, because out there, people who've, let's say, made it will say, be entrepreneurs, you don't have to rely on finding employment. So maybe just briefly, you can speak on this issue in terms of relationship. Does it mean that you have to have a stable employment for you to start a concrete and solid relationship?
Well, thank you for that wonderful question. I will define it that way.
Yeah.
Because looking at what now you have talked about, it's a clear phenomenon that is happening outside there.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole tag on and or within the society, as far as if you are venturing or entering into marriage. These are some of the basic things that one need to. And you realize that this is where people are missing it out. Because what they are giving as the priority, they are actually not the primary priority. When you are venturing into choosing a partner, starting, saying that now you're entering into marriage, you want to start a family and everything, most of the time, the tag, as far as these are the areas to look into, whether someone qualifies for me to accept and say, we can have what? We can now come together and say he or she can become a partner and move on. For me, most of the things that are used as a primary, they are secondary, leaving behind the primary one. You see, because let's look at it this way. I don't have a job, but I have clear qualifications. It's only just a matter of lacking an opportunity. Would it be better you deny me, and yet you are the fitting partner, I'm the fitting partner, just because of that? Or we should look at it and then we say, how can we come together and make sure that this opportunity that has not been there is manifested? You see, So for me, yes, people look into that, rightly because we are now, the world, the life has changed. Allow me to use these words. Initially, we were in a communistic, conservative society. Now we have entered into a liberal one. A liberal one is whereby now women out there working, earning, men out there working, and not like before, whereby we are coming from, men had the primary role of provision, women were right at home. And I'll tell you for a fact, we are not going back there. The world has shifted, okay? And we have to agree on that. So now we can now liberate our people and tell them now we are in this state, what do we do? So for me, it's so sad for me when I see such clauses being used by individuals to deny or to say, no, I cannot have you, and yet that's maybe your perfect partner. But now has failed because due to lack of job. It's so sad to use job as the primary measure, okay, of people coming together. And people are missing it out. Because what happens? Later on, when that does not happen, you see people get in that spiral of regrets. How I wish, I held on that man, I held on that lady. Because later on they see what? They progress. Because it does not mean that not having a job today does not give you a greater tomorrow. It isn't at all. But the thing is this, is the two coming together, and then we see, this is where we are. You put everything plainly. Okay, I don't have a job today, but these are my abilities, these are my capabilities, these are my potentials. You build on that, okay, the two of you. And then you're able now even to see now, how can we, because for me, I have seen so many, whereby at the inception of family life, marriage, women are doing so well, men are not working. Down the line 5 years later, you realize that this man has become, something is all together, okay? And he now, he has built up pole together and everything, because the potentials are there, and they focus on those potentials, on how can they grow them out and become something else. So it does not mean that lacking today makes you a lacking forever.
Yeah. So go forth with your relationship. If you want to settle down, settle down.
Yes.
Because I'd say this is an issue that you'd see even people getting married later at 35 or 40, because they were waiting till they have a stable career. So what you're saying is, let's stop, I'd say, minoring the major and majoring the minor.
Yes.
When you're planning to get married, it's about love. You can get a very good marriage with very good career or business, and they can flop. What would you do after that?
All right, so it's about the love.
It's about, for Christians, I like it because they say for us or for better. You move.
Yeah, whether there's a job or no job.
And what is most important is the basic needs. You have food on the table, you are healthy, you have a roof. That's all.
And you have each other.
Yeah, and you are working, and you are gaining more knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this first half we have looked so much into young people preparing for marriage and settling down, and I really love the fact that we have been able to talk about that, because it's an issue where a lot of young people are not guided on, and I'd say they have questions that they can't find answers because we are consulting amongst each other, and I'm glad that we have done that for you. So we're taking a very short break, but keep it tuned right here, because when we come back, we'll be looking at the challenges that arise now once we've crossed over and you are married.
In the recent past, there has been an exponential expansion of PCA Nairobi region. This has resulted in great pressure in shepherding to ensure that the flock continues to get the appropriate nourishment they deserve. For this reason, the moderator of the 23rd General Assembly, Right Reverend Patrick Thegu Mutahi, will on Sunday 23rd day of May 2021, together with Milimani North Presbytery led by the moderator Reverend Wilson Masharia, officiated the subdivision of the current Loresho parish into Nyari and Loresho parishes. This is indeed a commendable milestone looking back in time to where the PCA Loresho parish has come from. Since the year 1980, Loresho Parish has had the honor to have served with many ministers through powerful ministry and through God. They have grown this fervent congregation to what they are today. This ministry has been culminated by the unity of the fraternity of Loresho Parish led by the Kirk Session and the parish minister Reverend Daniel Washira, who is also the clerk Milimani North Presbytery and the secretary Nairobi region. Feel welcome to be part of this momentous celebration on Sunday from 9 a.m. live on Kirk TV. Tune in to Kirk TV on Signet, Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube to fellowship with us. Kwa unyenyekevu na kukubali mapenzi ya Mwenyezi Mungu, tunatangaza kifo cha kasisi Bedan Mumira Kamau. Bedan aliaga dunia usiku wa Jumapili tarehe 16 mwezi Mei mwaka huu katika hospitali ya Nairobi West. Kasisi Bedan ni mwanawe marehemu Beatrice Wanjiku, ni mwanamkwe wa marehemu Eliud Waiganjo, ni mmewe Elizabeth Njeri Mumira, ni nduguye Samuel Kamau na marehemu Eunice Ruguru Njenga. Kasisi Beda ni baba mpendwa wa John Ng'ang'a, Beatrice Wanjiku, Peter Waiganjo, Zipora Wairimu, Samuel Kamau, Eunice Ruguru, Pauline Wanjiru, Mary Wambui, Beatrice Njoroge na Sarah Nduta. Ni babuye Douglas Kai, Charles Mumira, Andrea anayejulikana vilevile kama Mikey, Ngina, Edna, John, Kenneth, Gadhoni, Jerry, Timothy na Migwi. Ni babu mkuu wa Austin, Ethan, Mesomachi, Arizona na Daniel. Familia na marafiki wanakutana kila siku nyumbani kwake Kirigu Mutwini Dagoreti kuanzia saa 11 jioni kwa maombi na mipango ya mazishi. Ibada ya mazishi itafanyika katika kanisa la PCA Kimuri linalojulikana kama Church of the Torch tarehe 25 Jumanne mwezi Mei mwaka huu kuanzia saa 4 asubuhi. Mazishi yatafanyika katika eneo la makaburi Church of the Torch. Kutoka chumba cha habari cha Kirk tunawapa jamaa na marafiki pole.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for keeping it right here. Before we went for the very short break, Andrea, you had mentioned that love is all that matters in a marriage, you know, and looking that you have each other, whether there's no job or no job. And I remember when you were beginning, you mentioned about communication and how key it is. But we have emphasized on communicating about your past, communicating about the finances and other issues. But let's look at now a couple communicating about their career choices and how maybe they'd want to advance their career. Is this an issue that is quite important for a couple to talk about, or can I just say, it's career, I can, change my career and it doesn't really matter, or does it have weight and it's something that needs to be discussed with seriousness?
We started by saying education is very important. Knowledge is very important. Because if people are taken through that knowledge of career and marriage and family, from the family is very crucial. Why would I change my career if we discussed about it during our dating time? Yeah. Because if it were taken through careers, there are so many, and according to my personality trait, like I know mine is choleric, and I'm also melancholic. And then I'm going to take a career of a sanguine. I will be lost. I will not be comfortable. It will affect myself, it will affect me psychologically, sometimes even physically, because I'm doing what I am not made for. Yeah. So it's also good to understand you are a phlegmatic, I am a choleric. How do we handle this so that we can become compatible? Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of career, do you want to add something?
Yes, I want to
All
add
right,
something
okay.
on that. Because one thing that viewer, we have to understand it is there is diversity that is, coming on each and every career. Let me put it this way. Even if you are a civil engineer, the way they were in 1990s or 80s, it's not the way they are today. Because as the world is growing and expanding in all dimensions, the demands are also coming. Okay, so if the settlement of those years is you come from your estate of you are living, then you go to town, Nairobi city, and then you go back, it's not the same today. Because now you realize that the demand now causes the person to travel. You be out of where you dwell, you go to another place, so that you can go and meet the demands of your career. So when people are addressing the issue of a career advancement, they should have that open mind in looking at it. Because you are looking at it, because again, I will not say that now you just drop career because now it is calling you to go to South Africa, and maybe that's going to bring even more, blessing to your family and everything. It's a question of now looking at it, and whereby now you are saying here, it will call upon now distance. I'll be away. My absence as a father figure in this family, as a husband, will be away. How shall it be covered? My absence as a mother and a wife in this family, I'll be away for 2 weeks, 1 month, or 3 days. How shall it be covered? It is having such a direct conversation so that there will be no breach, there will be no gap that will be felt within the family setup.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you've mentioned something important that I wanted to bring up. So you've gotten a job offer, but outside of the country or outside of the area where you stay. Let's say in Bungoma and your family is in Nairobi. And you discuss and agree and say, it's okay, this is how we should go about it, but you see, talking and reality is different. So you move on, accept the job offer, then reality hits your partner and they realize they actually can't do it. Now, what next?
Well, I'll put it this way. There are two realities. The realities that are based on what the world and society and people are talking about and they are saying in such kind of situation. And there's that reality within the relationship. Within the relationship. Well, people can look at the value and look at and see, okay, the income of that one partner who is called to be away. If it will be sufficient enough to sustain all of you as a family, you can move together and be together. Okay, if it can. But again, if you are here, because now the best that you can do as the wife is being here, so that you can attain, and for him he has to go, then there you have to look at the. But as I said, any inception of a marriage or a family, there are values that are meant, she's talked about it, that are meant to be generated, and those values are meant to maintain. Because again, people should go beyond looking at, okay, what is more, which are the elements that factors more in a marriage and a family life. Because I can be present, I can be there, having no value addition to the life. And I can be that distance, but there's much value addition that the family is enjoying and feeling. So it's a question of looking at pro and cons of the absence and the presence. And also because, again, you see, that could be, as I said, the blessing toward your family and your life. If you now miss it because of, now I will be away, would that be the thing? No, here again. I allow me to use this statement and say this. When the two partners are meeting, they are meeting two whole beings. But again, if you are to go to scriptures, it says, when you meet, you happen to do what? You become one. Can 1 + 1 make 1? The answer is no. So what happens? Meaning there's a part of you that you have to kill and forget about it. There's a part of him he has to kill and forget about it. So now these two halves come together and make that one. So what happened is this. That part of you that you have killed, you must get it from him. That part of him he has killed, he must get it from you. You're the one who is going to bring it. So what am I trying to say here? Unless people look at that life in that perspective, all this greasing and conflict will always be fair, because we are looking at two complete entities. But when you look at it and you say, there's a part of me I had to let go so that I can accommodate him, there's a part of him that he had to let go so that he can accommodate me, then that matching will, will yield something great. So, but what you are saying is a question of sitting down and people discuss at that particular issue with an open mind, looking at pro and cons. Because you look at it and say, you'll be away for 5 years. So is that sacrifice worthy? Okay? So that now the end result will be, where shall we be? If it is worthy, then let's risk it. Because again, I have to say this, marriage life, no one knows what lies ahead. It is a venture. And when you're going for a venture, how do you enter it? With an open mind.
All right, very well put. Andrea, I'd like to ask you now, we've talked about making specific sacrifices here and looking at the pros and cons. But let's say a disagreement ensues and your partner says, you know what, you can't take that job offer. We have to stay as one family. As a counselor in such a situation, how would you advise this couple to go through this issue? Because if this other person is hurting and feeling like my career would advance, I'd get more opportunities, this is a job I really want to take, but at the cost of my family, I can't, they are in a situation, let's say, between a rock and a hard place.
As we are talking, we need to think about what you said, oneness. Because if people really become one, 1 + 1 is 1, then they will walk the journey together. You see? Now, when such a situation is you can't take that job, then we go now to manipulation. Yeah, which becomes negative. Yeah. Because I want the job, you're telling me that I can't take my job. Yeah? That is already a conflict in itself. We also need to ask ourselves, why this confusion now? And I like talking about the tradition world. I did a course at the university on African religious studies. It was so rich, according to me, how children grow in the family. Of course, there are some things like FGM which are not good for women. I'm mentioning that as an example. There are many others. Where men could eat chicken some parts and women were not allowed to eat some other parts, gender-sensitive issues. But in reality, when children were growing up, they had guidelines from the families, from the community. There were chosen women when they reached age 12. And I don't know why it is age 12, because even in the Bible, we talk about age 12 when Jesus and the mother were going for something. The young ladies were taken to learned women, taught women, to teach them about womanhood, what is expected of them. The young men were taken to to elders, uncles, who would tell them what is a man, what is expected of him as a man in the family. We could not hear about, for example, sex before marriage, because there were rules. We could not hear about divorce, because if the man had an issue with the woman, he would go to the elders and he would present his case. And the elders now would go to the ladies who are to guide the lady. They would present the case. The ladies would call the young lady and tell and guide her on how to go.
Yeah.
And they would go back and live together. Now we are having counselors. But we have not reached there where now you must go for, to a counselor for guidance.
Yeah.
This is now where the gap is. We have a very big gap, yes, whereby it's not about what career you take, what career I take. It's about, I'm in this career, you're in this career. How do we go about it when we are married? Yes. What is happening today also is because of lack of being faithful, lack of trust, because of what has been observed. A lady goes to America, gets married there. We have heard those stories, and yet is married. Yeah. A man goes to Nakuru and leaves the family. Anaweka hii mpango slay queens, mpango wa kando. So that now trust, that fear becomes an issue. Yeah, because if people are one really, and they worked as one, if I am in Nakuru, I'm coming over the weekend. We also need to look at, I remember there's a man who told me one time, many men are marrying teachers because where you go, the teacher will get a transfer. Yeah.
Because there are schools all over.
There are schools all over. And also a bit of psychology in the teaching. But you see now, even the government needs to look at it, that separating families is dangerous. Yeah. If you are giving a scholarship to one, can you also think about the other one? Yeah.
All right. That's quite interesting, which also really takes us back to what you said earlier about it's not entirely on the career, because there are other issues like trust issues, infidelity, that we really need to look into. You wanted to add something?
Yes, it's on that note, because looking at how you are asking, pointing about it, one partner refusing, there are two ways that can influence such kind of an action. What you know of the person, what you know of this person is capable of doing when he is away from you, or she can do when she is away from you, okay? Or the much information that is, around there, what people are talking about, there's a lot of things that is happening. So you as an individual, you end up now developing an inhibiting fear, because you have heard so much about people saying this happened, if you allow men to go, they'll do ABCD, if you allow men to go, they'll do ABCD. But for me, I'll say this: settle unto your partner. How much do you know him? How much do you know her? How much do you know? To what extent can he go? Can he do that which can cause fear in you? So now from there, you can even sit down and you're living a one life. Should there be any fear of expression? No. You say, me, I'm fearing because when you go, I know you. Yeah. This is a weakness of you, and you do A, B, C, D. Yeah. Because when you do that, you're helping the person. Okay? He will know or she will know. Already, this is a weakness that I am in. It could be a black spot that they are not aware of. Yeah. And then you help the person to overcome. Because anyway, You are here to live together and to be together, and life has to move on, and both of you has to work for excellency. That's the point I wanted to add on in that regard. Yes.
All right, thank you. Let's look at advancement of education in order to advance your career in the long run. So here's a couple as an example. The husband has a master's, the wife has an undergrad, and the wife wants to enroll for a master's. But she's scared, and this happens a lot because then it will be seen like you're competing with your husband. Hey, you want to have a master's and your husband has a master's, you know, or you want to advance and your husband say, no, we can't be two people who have masters in this family. Wait until I advance, then we'll think about you. So I want you to talk about that. Why really do men feel threatened when their wives advance their education level in order to advance their career?
Of gender issues, traditions. We need to come out of that and reason and analyze and be logic. I'm advancing my career for the sake of the family, for all of us. We have seen even women doctors who are in very high positions and they're still living with their husbands, meaning that they discussed and agreed. The husband should not feel that my wife is competing with me. Sometimes we also listen to the outsiders so much. We forget that this is our family. Yeah. Even we listen to the in-laws. Yeah. And they even start calling their man and somebody aside and telling them, oh, sasa, umepotea njia. Umekaliwa. But I'm sure if people agree, yeah, if people are working and they're in good positions, for example, now when you've brought about that now, if the man is the one who loses the job, and if you are one, isn't what all we are having, I have, and yours is ours?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because if I'm managing my money, the husband can do something. We can agree on, now what do you do now that you are not working? You are not in a white-collar job. Can you start a business? Yeah? I've seen one who lost a job and the wife gave him money to go to buy clothes in Dubai. But now because he was given by the wife, he didn't bring clothes. He didn't want to feel that it's my they still have that ego. And they need to be given that ego because we have also to understand there's a difference between women and men and understand that knowledge. So that when such things are being done, it's not that we are reducing your ego. It's we are even lifting it up because when you do business and you get profits, you are succeeding.
It comes back to the family.
It comes back to the family. So that one should not be taken, it should be thought seriously. It should not be taken as a competition. One thing, I have to be independent before I become dependent. Self-awareness, so that I'm able to know how to handle myself and to handle my partner. Yeah. So that whatever we are doing, we understand. I understand you, you understand me. Yeah.
All right. As a career coach, what is your general view on this issue, on such an instance?
You see, it's so easy. As long as you advance and you're giving your husband his rightful position, you are allowing him to be that man. You know, when it comes to your life, he is your husband. What's wrong with that? As long as she advances and you're giving her her rightful position as your wife, you know, when she comes home, she is your wife, not a competitor, not something else. That should be the thing. Because you see, it's a question of just a bad mentality of competition and of jealousy. You see, and if as an individual you're able to sort it out as an individual first, because you create it from within, and then you are out there with it now trying to express it and execute it in your own way and everything. If you're able to deal with it and you settle, and at the end of the day you see she's my wife at the end of the day, and whatever she is going for is a good for my family. and then you allow her and you give her that rightful position, she'll do excellently. But the moment you bring in a stifle of jealousy, competition, she'll want to fight it out. And in that process of fighting, because she want to go for it, something else will crop up. And when it comes out now the whole thing will be a different thing. So from the onset, you see, because again, you're not living in your own island, you are living together. So when you develop that idea of, I want to advance in this, and then two of you look at it, and then also as an individual, you look back and say, okay, what am I holding that will make me feel, you deal with your own feelings, and you say, I feel jealousy of her. So because of that, I feel that I've been looked upon as if I'm a lesser man outside there. And you deal with that because you see, all these things, when you look at them, they have a source, they have where they are coming from. They're not coming from within the family per se. They are coming from what she's talking about, the socialization, the social cycles in which we are involved and we are attached to. That's what they're coming from. And here, when you remember and you say, there is two worlds here, my family world and the society world. And then you're able to put on a clear-cut boundaries on how much you can borrow or you can allow influence from outside to come and affect your family. There you are safe and you are good to go. But if there are doors and windows open all right and center and everywhere, then I can assure you there will be a lot of issues. So there's that bit of wanting now to know, okay, what will be influencing me to refuse her? Okay? What will be influencing me? Then you look at it and you see, is it a good thing? Because again, every action, every deed, every decision one is to make, and it is involving others, it is always good to look ahead and see the end results. Because you may be there busy fighting and raising your ego and saying I'm a man and everything, before you know it, it causes the whole relationship and you end up losing a lot. It's important to look into that.
I'd like how you mentioned that search within yourself as an individual, because we've also had cases where a husband will tell the wife, you cannot take up that managerial position, and it's all because of, really ask yourself, why would you feel a lesser man if your wife has a good position, earning well, bringing it to the family? Yeah, so thank you all for today. I really wish we had more time even to talk about personalities and career choices, but tell them, get the book. Yeah, so tell us how can our viewer get your book and get in touch with you as a career coach if they need anything, and then also tell us how we'll get in touch with you.
Thank you very much, viewer. The right way of getting me is by getting my number through my number, which works 24/7. Is 0725 598 001. Through that number, you can reach me, and from there we can further conversation as per your need. And I have that book, as I said. It's available. It is with me, and the title is A Doctor or a Cobra. That's a book, a wonderful book. And I'm sure if you get in touch with it, for sure you'll never be the same again.
My number is 0722 330 865. I repeat, 0722 330 865.
All right. As we conclude, I'll allow you guys to leave us with a punchline, a food for thought, something that a viewer will think about and say, hey, yenyewe, that was very heavy, or it had wisdom. So very, very brief. I'll start with you, Adred, just generally about family and career and building stronger families.
We are doing trial and error now. We need the family to be in the national government, whereby there needs to be a task force so that we can reach the whole of this nation.
I know you are there wondering about your husband, you're wondering about your wife. That right husband you have been looking for is right in you. That right, wonderful woman you have been looking for is right in you. It is your responsibility to make that right man or woman you have been looking for, because you are the architecture of that husband, of that wife you have been looking for. Remember, you are because I am, and I am because you are. May that be and settle within your family.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all for today. I'm glad and excited that we have been able to impact knowledge and wisdom and solve challenges, yeah, because someone watching this will find solutions to challenges that have been there and will also be able to help someone else. Yeah, so thank you. All right, that is all we had for you today on Transforming Families. Thank you so much for joining us. As we always say, families are work, but you know, at the end of the day, it is worthy work. So keep fighting, keep working to build a stronger and closer family. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, goodbye.